Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Deep Rock Galactic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zarel. Let's get to it. So today we're doing the Deep Dive, codenamed Naked Land. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. Stage 1 of the Deep Dive has you collecting 2 alien eggs, extracting crystallized morkite with lethal enemies. Of course, the alien eggs, you're going to dig in the organic material towards the red pulsing light until the egg pops out, and then get ready for the enemies that are going to be coming after you. Make sure you call for the mule to deposit that egg as soon as possible, and of course, defend from the swarm of enemies that are going to be coming, because for some reason they don't like it when you take their egg. Alright, so in addition, you have the crystallized morkite. Look for that gray-blue glow on the side of the walls of the level and mine that morkite just like you would nitrate or gold. Speaking of which, you're going to want to keep your eyes open for both gold and nitro. Gold, of course, will give you credits at the end of the deep dive, and nitro will keep you flush with ammo and grenades, etc. throughout the deep dive. So once you have all the eggs and the morkite, then you're ready to move on. Unlike a normal mission, the deep dive is a 3-stage raid-like environment, which you can play by yourself with your buddy Bosco or with up to 3 other friends, either pre-made or match-made. So unlike normal missions, you will have to do both objectives, neither one of which is optional. So normal missions, you have one mandatory, one optional objective, and in the deep dive, you have 2 mandatory ones. And you have to complete both in order to move on to the next stage. So once you have the morkite and the alien eggs, then you're ready to move on. Go ahead and call in drop pod and then make your way out. Now you have 2 options when you call in the drop pod. You can follow the mule back to the drop pod, and hopefully the mule doesn't go up any sheer vertical surfaces, or you can make your way back as best you can if you kind of know where it's at. You know the direction at least. You may not know exactly how to get there from point A to point B. So if you want, you can follow the mule and then just deal with the enemies as you go along. Or if you know where you're going, get back to the drop pod, and then you just have to defend the area. It's really up to you and the situation that you find yourself in. If you have plenty of space and you know, like I said, like if you know where the drop pod is from where you're at and how to get to it, it's not that big of a deal. Otherwise, you can just follow the little flags that the mule drops down to make your way from wherever the mule starts to the point where the drop pod is at. Alright, make sure that you take care of any swarms of enemies that you have to. If you can just run past them, that's a much better idea. Preserve your ammo where you can. Alright, but once the mule docks, then you can get in. Otherwise, it's locked until then. So you do have to wait for a couple seconds for it to dock. But then get in and you're ready and on your way to stage number 2. Alright, good job. So lethal enemies, I forgot to mention, just means that all the enemies are going to do more melee damage to you. So keep them at arm's length if at all possible. On to stage 2. Now this time we don't have a modifier, but we have a full salvage mission. That's right, you're going to look for those mini mules, as well as collecting 2 alien eggs. So much like before, alien eggs, you'll look for the organic material. You can look on your train scanner form. The mini mules, you're going to look and listen for them They'll pulse, green light, and they'll beep when you get near them. Scan them, and then the legs will glow and slightly pulse. Once you have all the legs reattached, all you have to do is repair the mini mule. Now, if you're not really sure where the legs are at, you can always look at the terrain scanner after you scan the mini mule, and they'll be on there. And the more people that are repairing, the faster it'll go. Easy enough. Like I said, alien eggs just like before. Look for the organic material. Dig towards that red pulsing glow. And of course, every time you pull an egg, you're going to have some enemies coming at you after you grab it. But you have about a 50% chance of spawning a swarm. And all of those that swarm of enemies is going to be coming after you, not liking that you took one of their eggs. But once you have both of the mini mules and the 2 alien eggs, then you can recall the mules back to the drop pod. But you're not done yet. You still have more to do, and we're going to get to that in just a second. So unlike previous missions, or basically just about any other mission, the drop pod will come in. This time you have a derelict drop pod that has to be restored to working order. So you have to restore the uplink to the space rig, and that is a zone control. So you have to stay inside of the green bubble there. The more people that are in it, the faster it'll go. The fewer people, the slower it goes, and if no one's in it, then you start losing progress. If you get down to 0, you fail, and you'll have to restart the deep dive. If you get up to 100%, or when you get to 100%, then you can move on. Second phase of this is that you'll have to refuel the drop pod, and it's going to be exactly very similar to the uplink. You'll have to attach it to the drop pod, and then of course you'll have to defend the area from bugs, not because they're going to interfere with your progress, but they're going to try and interfere with your life. Get up to 100% once again, so for the second time, and then you're still not done. You still have to wait for a minute and a half, that's a full 90 seconds, before the drop pod will unlock and you can move on. So what you can do is you can go anywhere within the level that you want. Just know that once the countdown is done, you'll only have 1 minute to get onto the drop pod and get out. So when that counter gets close to 0, you'll want to make sure that you're close to the pod so you can just hop in and move on to the next stage. And there we go. That's it for stage number 2. On to stage number 3. This is a good time to point out that everything carries over from one stage to the next. That includes your health, your ammo, grenades, traversal tools, everything, including what's in your pockets, your gold and your nitra. So if you're not able to deposit on the side of the drop pod or in the mule, it carries over to the next stage and you can drop it in then. Now the third stage of Deep Dive has you doing an escort mission. That's right, you're looking for that Amaran Heartstone, and you're looking for crystallized Morkite. Now if you're able to get a dark Morkite brew before you start the Deep Dive, it'll help you out because that gives you an extra 20%. Now at some point you're going to run out of fuel. You'll have to take those fuel canisters and look for that oil shale around the level that seems to be littered everywhere to refill it. And you'll have to do that with both fuel canisters. Look for the Morkite, and that's, once again, that crystallized Morkite, that bluish gray glow. And you'll need 150 of those before you can get out. As well as, looking for nitra, gold, and red sugar if you need the health. Now, once you get to the Heartstone, it's a 4-phase battle royale where each phase you have enemies popping up, swarms of enemies, plus you have each phase adding a little bit more terror than the next. whether it's meteors or laser beams coming out from the floor, what have you. So make your way through each phase while protecting and repairing the drill dozer, because you have 3 chances, basically 3 lives with the drill dozer. Each section has its own health. If you lose 1 or 2, you're fine. Lose all 3, you're done. And then, like I said, you'll have to restart the deep dive from stage 1 again. So you don't want to, especially at this point, fail. But once you crack that open, all you have to do is deposit the Heartstone in the mule, call in the drop pod, and make your way out. Hopefully on stage 3 you'll have plenty of nitra in order to call in resupplies, so you'll have all the ammo you could ever want, so you don't have to worry about holding back on your ammo or your grenades. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
Drop pod has arrived. Retrieving the mule.
Let's get out of this little hole. Firecracker! Die, monsters! Fall back to the drop. Clearing the area. Shield! Resupply ordered.
Nitra has been withdrawn and supply pod is inbound.
No survivors! Careful! The resupply is here. Make every bullet count! It just jammed. Getting supplies! Yeah, this is the short face for the resupply. Come on!
Supply pod requisitioned. Launching now.
This is...
The mule's been successfully retrieved. Make it snappy, team. The drop pod won't hang around forever. Extraction commencing. Good work.
Shields ready again.
PlayStation